Welcome to the Aegance Offscript Podcast, where we talk to industry leaders who share their stories, insights, and lessons, unfiltered and unscripted. I'm your host, Lawrence, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Eda, the founder of Adeo Global. Now, Eda has built her business around one big idea, helping companies move from ambition to impact across the EMEA region by matching them with the right partners, the right markets, and the right growth pathways. Eda, thanks so much for being with us. Let's dive in.
Thank you so much for having me, Lawrence. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Would you mind providing us with a little bit more context around Adeo Global, what it is that you do, areas of operations, etc.?
Of course. So we can name what we do very differently, actually. We can put some fast names on it. One concept that I found is a boutique accelerator. Another name we can give it is a more hands-on consulting firm. But basically what we do is we work with the companies who are from outside the region, which is the EMEA region, who wants to seriously expand to the EMEA region. And we're not just helping them for like company establishment, etc. This is not our expertise. We help them to find the right market entry strategies, to develop strategies with them, and also execute the strategies we develop together by working as their growth partner and market entry partner in the region. And all the companies we work with, they're not alone in this journey, because that's why we call it also an accelerator, because it's a full ecosystem supported by multiple stakeholders like corporate, startups, scale-ups, investors, academia, government, etc. So basically, it's a big ecosystem that we're building.
Yeah, amazing. And as the founder of Adeo Global, how do you define your role when balancing strategic vision with the sort of day-to-day client execution?
Well, I would say I wear two hats from that aspect, right? The first part is, as you said, the founder, the visionary behind the idea and the company, which requires leadership skills and leadership roles. However, I also believe that having this helicopter view doesn't work in leadership. So you really need to have a hands-on experience and hands-on leadership strategies, I think, in order to be successful. So delegation alone doesn't bring you at the places that you really want to go. Of course, collaboration and delegation is important, but being a hands-on leader is, I think, more important. I can give some examples about it. For example, Steve Jobs, he was very well known with his, let's say, obsession with details of the products of Apple. Another example is Elon Musk. Basically, he sleeps at his factory, right? Not because he cannot delegate, it's because he still wants to have this hands-on execution. Another leader I can give example, which is a historical figure, not like a business person like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, but he's a big inspiration to me from our country, Ataturk. He was the founder of Turkish Republic, so he led side by side with his soldiers. Napoleon Bonaparte, similarly. So when you look at all the good leaders, from business till historical figures, you see one thing that is coming, their dedication for sure, but also they've always been more hands-on. So not just give commands and orders, etc., but also execute themselves. So I think that's why I am more like an action taker, if you think like that.
Yeah, amazing. I love it. A founder that gets involved can certainly get behind that concept. So you mentioned strategic vision. What is the vision that drives you day to day?
Well, I would say that I really strongly believe in collaboration. I think I'm going to talk a lot about it at this podcast. So you will be even bored of hearing collaboration word. But I'm really a strong advocate of collaboration, because we're not in 18th, 19th centuries anymore. So everything pretty much is already invented. So what we need to do is yes, we can have much more inventions, but we can't do them alone. So that's why the real vision is enhancing the collaboration, empowering the ecosystem stakeholders and partners, and finding the right partnerships, right projects, and right solutions for everyone.
When you look at the growth opportunities across the EMEA region, what is guiding your decision making?
Well, there are lots of opportunities, I would say. So maybe I can summarize it in two verticals. The first one is regional opportunities. So EMEA is a growing economy. So when you look at especially MENA region, which is Middle East and North Africa. So when you look at the numbers, you see that now all eyes are on MENA region. And there is a reason for that. Because unfortunately, even though my roots are from that region, Europe's economy is getting smaller and smaller day by day because of the, like I would say, you can call it bureaucracy, you can call it economic challenges, wars, conflicts, etc. Regardless all these reasons, Middle East really built some solid systems, some solid economies, and now this region is one of the most reliable and one of the most stable economies, right? So I think you can, when you look at the numbers, you can see tremendous opportunities region wise. On another side, when we look at the more industry specific numbers, we see tremendous opportunities in AI. Like, no need to say, right? You and I are both pretty much involved in AI, and there is a reason for that. So when you look at both regional and industry specific numbers, you see all these countries here in the region are early adopters and the first ever investors to AI, of course, together with other countries such as the US. But this region is also a very, very good featured actor when it comes to AI field, like Saudi Arabia's initiatives, like Qatar, like UAE, where I'm based in. So I think all these things bring tremendous opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's lean into the idea of collaboration. I mean, it sounds like your model is built around ecosystems, not just transactions. So how do you approach building those networks so that they actually deliver results for you?
Well, I would say that I don't know if you're familiar with co-petition word. So basically, it's a not new term, but I don't know. I think we forgot about it. So it's the combination of competition and cooperation. So basically, when you look at the ecosystems, not just one ecosystem, okay? You can look at fintech ecosystem, you can look at health tech ecosystem, you can look at any ecosystem, you will see that oftentimes the biggest competitors can be the best collaborators, actually. So look at Apple and Samsung. They're the biggest competitors, but they're collaborating amazingly. They have been rivals for decades, and like yet Apple still buys components like displays and memory chips from Samsung, because what Samsung offers there is something irreplaceable. And even though if you would want to like replace it, your cost will be much more higher. So why would you do that? And you don't have that much of a know-how in that field, in that extent. So the best choice is to collaborate while also competing in other fields. So that's completely fine. I think here what is more important is how we do it. So this is the why part. And when it comes to how part, I think better than anything, we are good listeners. So I would say in an average discussion we're having with anyone, most of the time, we don't speak more than 10, 20% of overall the whole discussion. We don't speak more than 20%, but we let others to speak. We listen so that we can understand what are their real challenges what are their vision, and what kind of like plans they have ahead, so that we can tackle into those challenges and we can really understand what we can offer them. And then the puzzle is solved by itself, because you just need to create the right collaboration model, need to understand the challenges, onboard the right solutions, and there is a synergic relation at the end of the day for everyone. So no, why you wouldn't want to collaborate in such case? I don't see any reason.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. I love the idea of listening far more than talking. I think you learn so much if you listen more. It's such a uh, strange concept to many people, but okay. So partnerships is key to the ecosystem. In practice, what does that mean? What sorts of partners are you looking for?
So we work with startups and scale ups. We work with investors, governments, semi-governmental authorities. Sometimes they can be R&D institutions, they can be academia, incubators, accelerators. Also, we can name them under investors, but their function is a little bit different than the classical investors, I would say. And of course, academia. So these are the partners we're looking for, and we're expanding and we're engaging with day to day.
And if we change tact for a second, I've seen that you've written about the transformative role of AI in healthcare in particular. I mean, how is technology, things like data, automation, digital infrastructure, how is that shaping the way that Adeo Global works internally and externally with your clients?
Well, you just gave a good tip, actually. I was just about to approach the topic from two aspects, internally and externally, because internally, I think we use AI efficiently. For sure, we have a lot more to do, but currently, I think we're using it well for reducing the workload, especially automating some processes, such as like scheduling, planning, design processes, some parts of market research. We don't fully rely on AI yet because I think when it comes to market research, it's good, but not that advanced. But the rest of the things, especially like generate generative AI and agentic AI, we're really into that. However, I think externally we're much more involved. Funny enough, I just gave a speech about agentic AI 2 weeks ago in Pakistan, and we talked about its importance for especially health tech ecosystem. So, um, as I mentioned there, I think as humanity, we have explored AI in three steps. The first step was to collect the data and being connected. It was all about connection, right? Like just World Wide Web. Like it was about to be connected. It was about to go digital and integrating the systems and gathering the data. And then at the second stage, we realized that, okay, we have so much data, but what does it mean? Like how we can use it, how we can make decisions with that, because it's the power. Data is the power. So we developed some algorithms and then machine learning and then, some basic AI prompts, let's say. And then the third one was generative AI. Now I don't know anyone who doesn't use DeepSeek, ChatGPT, or whatever, a Grok, whatever AI they're using. So we all use AI now. Now it's a part of our day-to-day life. But now it evolves and a certain point that we can be more proactive, which is agentic AI. So basically now AI can take decisions, take initiatives on behalf of us, or they can support us for taking better decisions. So now it evolves somewhere completely different, and I am really excited about it. So we help our clients to embed AI solutions to their journey and to their systems. But also, I think, especially our health tech clients, they know that it's necessary. It's not a luxury. It's not a wish anymore. It's a need. So what they use it for, to give you a few examples from health tech industry, they use it for understanding our genetics data. They use it for early stage diagnostic, especially for early stage cancer screening. It gives amazing results in skin cancer, breast cancer, lung cancer. So AI does miracles on these fields. They use it in public health for predictive analytics. So before, let's say, a pandemic or an epidemic spreads out, they can predict it and so that they can prevent it, which is a big power. So there are lots of examples like this, but I think externally we're much more involved. I would even say that I think right now there is no single company that we're working who doesn't use AI. No single company, internally or within some part of their solution, because I don't think soon companies who doesn't use AI can survive.
Super interesting. And would you say that you see any gaps between how your clients or the prospects that you talk to view using AI to help them be more sort of data driven versus what they're actually doing or what they're actually hoping to achieve?
Yeah, I would say a few gaps. One of them is I think agentic AI is not really well applied yet in some industries because we but that has always been the problem, right? Delegation itself is a problem. So some managements, they don't want to delegate some basic tasks like client follow-up, scheduling, etc. to agentic AI. But once they see the result of it, they see how much workload and how much workload they can reduce and how much efficiency they can increase, right? So I think agentic AI should be much more well applied. That's one gap. And the second one is, I would say, health data. So not all the companies, of course, have data. So what it should be done, the authorities or who has the data, like the institutions, authorities, corporate, they should do some strong, solid partnerships with private industry and with especially R&D centers to work with data, with real data, to train AI better, especially I would say for healthcare, because we don't have yet a very well trained AI model focused purely on healthcare, for example. This is just one example. I know it's the case in fintech as well, because the data is very valuable so that we don't want to share it. But without sharing it, we can't train them well. So these are some, I would say, micro and macro scale gaps that I see in the industry. And when you say data driven, maybe one more addition to that, I see, especially in many tech companies, if they're not B2C, they don't really use AI in marketing well. So they need to use it more efficiently and they need to develop or code, like regenerate their marketing strategies with the data that they're gathering through their whatever marketing tools they use, but with the help of AI. So I think for especially for marketing, they need to use AI in tech business more efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, those are all very, very solid points. And just on the healthcare and the fintech comment that you made, I think we're the world is only just sort of coming to grips at the potential that AI has. Although it's been around for decades, I think the sort of practical application thereof is only sort of peaking at the moment, or maybe peaking's not doing it full justice. We're only starting to ramp things up right now. So I'm pretty sure that, in the coming 6 to 12 months, you're going to see some very big shifts across that healthcare and fintech space.
For sure. They already started actually. In Saudi, they started to share data officially with public for R&D purposes and product development purposes. I think it's a great, great first step.
Mm.
In UAE, they have similar plans as well. In Turkey, we have similar plans. I know in Qatar, they do the same, especially for R&D and innovation, right? These things are very, very important. So I'm also sure, as you said, that we're going to see some developments and some actions over there.
So if we look internally, how do you evaluate when to invest in a new AI-driven, maybe it's agentic AI tool or tech capability?
I'm an early adopter. So for me, I need to test. I need to try it myself. I need to test. And like, some people, they really deep dive into that. They see the functionalities. They need to know about all kinds of features that the solution provides. For me, I need to see and I need to feel the product or the solution. So what I'm doing basically for every time when we say, okay, we need this kind of a solution, we shortlist, let's say 3, 4 different solutions or companies that we can work with. And then, of course, depending on their pricing model, depending on the industry specific that they are operating in, their references, we try, let's say, 2 of them, and then we choose the best one.
Yeah, I like that approach. So consulting and representation business often lives or dies by the quality of the client relationships. How does Adeo Global attract and retain high value clients over time?
Actually, the formula is very simple, as we discussed a few minutes ago. I think even though it's very simple, there are very less good listeners. So the first step that is going to a good relationship, not just a client and provider relationship, a friendship as well, a family relationship as well, you need to really listen. So we don't dictate anything to our clients. We don't offer anything generic to our clients. And we don't really join the meetings with this very, very high expectation that we will definitely work. This is business. It can work, it might not work. But if we leave from that meeting by learning things and meeting with some nice people, that's good enough achievement for us, even though we don't work together, But the first aim is to learn from those people. And if we can learn from each other, and then if we can collaborate and work, that's already amazing. So that's the real approach. And so I said that we don't dictate anything. We're not offering anything generic, generalized. So that's one thing. Learning from each other. And the last thing is execution. So what differs us from the other ones is, I don't remember who said that, and I actually searched for that quote. If nobody else said that, I want to be the first one to say it. So in MENA region, the real challenge is not strategy development. The real challenge is execution of the strategies. We're good starters, we're terrible closers. So we need to really, really, like, not terrible, of course, a lot of businesses going here, but we need to really improve ourselves on follow-ups and execution of the strategies. So that's why I think everyone was really focusing on too much on the analysis and strategy development, whereas we really focus on the execution, the tangible results, building bridges between regions, between industry players, and most importantly, creating real success stories. So
Mm.
because that's what will carry us to the future, we believe.
Are there any systems or rituals that have helped you stay close to your clients even after the initial delivery?
Um, you mean like AI systems or
No, just a way of operating.
way of operating? Well, I'm a little bit obsessed with follow-ups. But I also don't like annoying anyone in terms of follow-up. So I think the system one is more a human system. I always ask if they're ready to take decisions, if they're ready to proceed for the next conversation, and if so, when and how. Face to face, online, or like, because I don't want to bother people. I don't want anyone to bother me as well. Every day we're approached by like hundreds of advertisements, sales calls, etc. I don't operate like that. So my approach is, I would say, very, very one-on-one, very customized, and very focused.
Mm.
And the second thing, this is the human system. The other system is, of course, one of the most useful things, which is very basic for me, was note takers. I use an amazing AI note taker. I'm sure everyone uses, but I think we really use it efficiently because this is just a very, very small example. After every call, it sounds like a summary, etc. So I take like, let's say 15 minutes with my assistant to go through those notes and take actions. And then we put deadlines and we delegate those tasks to the people who will be responsible from those tasks. So that really simplify the process, that really simplify the follow-up. Similarly, like a lot of AI tools that simplifies the process, but this is just one example I can give, I think.
I mean, I think if you're not using a note taker in this day and age, then you seriously need to consider using it because it is such a powerful and valuable way to ensure that you get down all the nuances of the conversation. And if you're able to plug that, as you say, in with an assistant or into some sort of an AI prompt that pulls out the key points, the key next steps, etc. That's a way to ensure that nothing slips through the cracks.
Exactly. And you know what is even more proactive? Even if I wouldn't go through, like take 15 minutes with my assistant and go through all those bullet points with my assistant, but if you would have like an agentic AI system that is integrated to the note taker, it will right away, like based on the importance or like the deadlines I put, it would right away put them in our task lists to
Mm.
our to-do applications. So this is how you basically like integrate systems and how you eliminate the, let's say, inefficient workload. But for me, I'm a little bit classic as well. So I am, apart from my AI note taker, I also take notes all the time at the meetings. So I need to combine both of them, and that requires a little bit of human effort still.
So you've mentioned that listening is key to your approach when you are in front of your prospects and your clients. What has worked best for you, though, in terms of differentiating your value in a crowded market so that you can open the door and get the opportunity to sit in front of the prospect and listen to them?
I think the most important part is, which I very briefly mentioned, but I can deep dive a little bit more. Um, so with all respect, a traditional consulting firm has two steps. The first one is analyzing the, let's say, product market fit or the solution or product development improvements, etc. Right? Analyzing the situation, what we do, what we offer for who, and what is our current situation, where we want to go, where we want to reach to. So this is the first step. The second step is strategic development. How we can go there. Now we started to ask how we can go there, with who, when, what are some very optimistic, goals we can achieve? What are some very, I would say, urgent goals we can achieve? So the second is strategic development. So after that, a consultant gives you kind of a prescription that, so these are your gaps, these are your pain points, these are the things you need to focus on. And this is the strategy that we developed for you. This is an amazing thing already. But you know where most of the companies struggle at after that point? Because they don't know how to execute those strategies, whether they will outsource some of those tasks, whether they will hire some people, build a new team. Should they fire some part of their team? Because is it an efficiency problem? Is it an HR problem? Is it a marketing problem? Then they're stuck. They don't know how to execute. So this is what differentiates us actually, because the third part, which we have, is execution of the projects, execution of the strategy, and not just doing it alone, but as a whole ecosystem. Just like I mentioned, the other ecosystem stakeholders, as a whole ecosystem, by onboarding the right solutions, the right partnerships, and executing all together through collaboration. So that's from that aspect, I think I can humbly say that I haven't met with any company yet who is doing it exactly as. So I think that is our real power.
If you look back on your journey with Adeo Global, what are some of the biggest
Mhm.
lessons or maybe surprises that have shaped how you lead and how you make decisions?
Well, this was a good surprise actually. Just like I mentioned, I'm surprised that truly there is no company or no one I met does exactly the same thing as we do. I was like, but why? Because every company has different needs. Whether they have generic programs that you can have some kind of soft landing and try to grow with them, but they're generic. So you need to have more customized, more one-on-one, you need to brainstorm, you need to find the best. So that's one thing that surprised me because, there was literally either more of a consulting firm or more like a program, general program that they were engaging with. But they don't work one-on-one and like throughout the whole journey. That's also important from A to Z. They either work uh from pre-seed to seed or like from seed to scale out. We work throughout the whole journey as their growth partner. So I think finding this gap, also realizing that at very basic level, when you listen people, they open up to you and they actually come to you like, hey, we have this kind of a challenge. Even if it's not your expertise, they say, do you know you can introduce us to an expert, or do you think you can help us with this? That's really surprisingly good.
If you look at Adeo as a whole, as the sum of all its parts, what would you say is working very well within the company at the moment?
I think I would say business development works well at the company, not internally, externally. Soon you will see a lot of MOUs, but not just for the sake of signing an MOU, but really good, strong collaborations between regions, between strong players or very, very innovative solutions that has never been in the Middle East, in this region. We're bringing them to the region. So I think these things, finding the I would say bespoke innovation and being the connector between them, that works the best.
And on the flip side of that question, what is not working well within the company at the moment? Where are the consistent frictions or bottlenecks?
Marketing, which is funny because by background, I'm a marketing expert. But we have an expression in Turkish. We say that if you're very good at something, you're probably not good at doing it for yourself. So I am giving marketing consultancy to numerous companies. I have been working with numerous as well, like from government to corporate, from startups to academia. But when it comes to talk about our own business, our own ecosystem, I think we need some improvements over there. Because even my close friends were like, you're doing some great stuff, but we don't know how to define it. And that's the problem. It means I don't have an elevator pitch or like, so yeah, very, very honestly, I could say that we need to work more on it because we do some great stuff, but like if you don't share those great stuff with people, then no one can know about it or no one can really understand what you're doing.
And as you look ahead, are there any trends or shifts that you are quietly watching that you think are going to have a big impact in the next, let's say, 2 to 3 years?
You mean in AI?
Just in terms of the industry that you're in.
Well, we're in multiple industries. I think there are some trends, but like industry specific, I will totally say that I know I've been saying the same over and over again, but I really see agentic AI as as the future because especially in health tech, fintech, and many other industries, there are lots of bottlenecks that can be reduced so easily with agentic AI. But that's why we need to train AI more industry specific. And for that, we need to give them the fuel. What is the fuel? Data. So that's why we're supporting collaborative initiatives in the region so that we can change and we can grow this ecosystem all together.
And Eda, if our listeners and viewers want to reach out and connect with yourself and the broader team at Adeo Global, where is the best place for them to do that?
They can reach out through LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn the most efficient channel we're using. Of course, our email and website, they can find them very easily as Adeo Global, adeoglobal.com, and on the from the Google as well. Um, but yeah, so they can reach out for multiple resources. LinkedIn is the most efficient for us.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. It really was an interesting conversation, diving into Adeo Global and the sort of inner workings and go-to-market approach that you're deploying, but also then talking about the sort of broader market and the impact that artificial intelligence is having on that. It's been a really good conversation. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Lawrence. Thank you.
That's it for today's episode of the Aegance Offscript Podcast. If this conversation sparked something, a thought, a question, or a new way of seeing your own business, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.